CVE Gaming.
Hello everyone, this is CVE Bird and welcome to an interview which I am very happy to have with the man right now, Mr. Rico Suave. Rico, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very good, bro. I'm very good, and thank you for doing this interview with me. To everybody who may not know who Rico Suave is, I first heard about this man through Street Fighter, and I would definitely say that he is a pioneer for the character that he played, or still plays, which is Abel at the time. I know that with Rims, he would say to me, you know, I got a lot of my technique and my tech from Rico. And I know in Street Fighter, Rico has placed top 8, top 16, 5th, 6th. He's done a lot in Street Fighter. I know a little while after that, he played Injustice. I think the last thing that he won was Defend the North. Was second in Apex. And literally in the last tournament which he entered, which he won, which was Killer Instinct, he was 9th in Winter Brawl. And in Winter Brawl again, he won Killer Instinct. And congratulations to you again, sir, if I haven't said that already. But congratulations to you for that. It must be real busy and hectic for you right now. All the celebrations and interviews and other stuff that you're planning. How's everything going, and how do you feel about that and everything that's happened with that?
Um, Honestly, I feel quite normal about things. A lot of people actually wonder how come I don't like make a big deal out of my victories or my accomplishments, and I don't know. I guess it's not that I'm a very boring person. It's just I don't know. I just don't have that in me just to be so animated, like to jump up and down the stage and
Okay.
go crazy.
Right.
Like for instance, they would say like, "Oh, you just finished beating Justin. You beat him this many games straight," and I'm like, "Why would I do that?" Like in a way, I kind of find that I mean, it also depends, but at the same time, how most people come off, uh, I think like it's a little bit of disrespectful in a way.
Right.
And on top of that, I just like having an image of a very respectable, respectable person, player. But no, to me it's all normal. It's all good and gravy, really.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good, bro. It's good always to get your opinion of things. I think again, to some people, they're like, but come on, man, bro, you just beat Justin Wong, and then you're like, he's not unbeatable, and he's a good player. But it's kind of, I guess, that respect that you have, and then I guess it's also your vision that, okay, he is beatable if I perform. I've put the work in, I've put the time in, so it's kind of like you stay neutral. You don't get too excited, but then you're not going to downplay what you have the ability to do and your talent. So it's almost like you kind of just stay neutral. So obviously you're happy that you've achieved something and you've won, but again, like you were saying, it's just not in you to jump around and be like, a big celebration. It's just not who you are. Do you know what I mean? So I think
Right.
that's good to be aware of.
I mean that's it. I think that's the thing that people that get to them is the person's name. Like they hear that it's Justin Wong or like Daigo or whatever, and they automatically second guess themselves. They wouldn't be as confident. They let their name basically intimidate them. And from the start, when I started competing, the only time I was ever nervous was when I started because I wasn't, used to any of this. So it was quite a rush.
Right.
But as far as other players and big player names and whatnot, um, we're all the same. We're all human, so they can get opened up. They can get mixed up too. Whatever. You can get inside their head. Just if you have the mentality for it, really. But they're all human, just like us.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to ask you a series of questions, and literally, please feel free just to kind of go off and explain anything else which you may want to attach to it. But again, this is me asking you some of the questions about really kind of things that happened during the tournament, maybe before, some things that coincide with tournament play, then also for people to find out some things about you. Because I'm a very, very strong believer that people will see one side of you and they'll see the victories, but they don't understand what goes into the victories. And again, I understand if you've been a tournament player, there's certain techniques that you might not want to let come out, and I respect that. But literally, I know that there's certain things that you may want to share with people because they maybe don't understand how difficult it is for you, even mentally, to prepare and physically. They probably just think that, again, like you said just before, you know, he's still a human, he's still a guy, you know, he can get mixed up, anybody can get mixed up, anybody can kind of get it. But I believe there are just some people that kind of have the woe is me mentality, and it's like, it's lucky for you, Rico, you're good at games, you're just blessed. And you're like, well, no, it's not like that. So again, with these kind of questions, that's what I'm trying to probably get out of you, and I know that you'll literally explain yourself very well. So literally, I'll kind of just get into these questions, and if you do feel like you want to just say something else on top of that, or to kind of go off, just feel free to do that. But yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly, like when you said like that I'm just naturally blessed at video games, I wouldn't say that's the case. Honestly, some people are just naturally skilled with execution and whatnot. But there's like two different categories. I'll put it this way: the ones that are naturally gifted, meaning that they don't have to necessarily work or play the game as much to learn certain things or to execute certain things.
Right.
Because they just naturally have that magic finger, as I would call it. And then then you have some people that they have to grind the game inside out every day, and to get familiar with the mechanics, with people, you know, like just grind it out every day with the muscle memory of the execution,
Yeah.
the setups and all this stuff, whatever. Because if they don't do that, they won't be as consistent as they would be in tournaments. It's like the same thing when you work out. If you're trying to like build muscle or whatever, you have to keep working out if you want that image that you're going for. You have to keep working out, because otherwise, the minute you stop working out, you start to lose it. You get fat. You won't be as strong anymore. So it's sort of like you could apply it to the gym, really. It's almost the same thing. The same results.
Okay, so you have natural ability and you have acquired ability. That's literally what you were explaining a moment ago. Would you say that being Rico Suave today is and I'm talking about actually the person and the player together, would you say you're a mix of both, or would you more say that when you maybe started off? Go ahead.
I would say I would say in my case, I would say it's a bit of both.
Right.
Because I tend to catch on things pretty quickly and have a feel and an understanding for games pretty quickly. When it comes to execution of any game, I will have to basically grind it out for a bit, because it takes me a while to get used to it, since I wasn't raised with like I was raised playing video games, but not the way how most people were. Like I was just getting, like, when my mother bought me a Super Nintendo, whatever. I was just button mashing, like in Street Fighter 2 Turbo, just button mashing, and you know, getting the Hadouken motion and reuse Hurricane Kick. I was just mashing it out and be happy whenever I pulled that off. But as to actually like learn and know what I'm doing within a game and its meta, no, that came later. When I bought my 360 and I heard that Street Fighter 4 was gonna come out, and at the time I was playing Soul Calibur 4 online a lot, and I was like, hey, why not actually take Street Fighter serious, since I've been hearing like a lot of tournaments here in New York. And once that came out, I gave it a shot, and at first I picked up Ken,
Right.
and I'm not gonna lie to you, I couldn't do none of the Shoto combos, like short, jab, you know, heavy DP, any of that stuff. Like I had no footsies, no fundamentals, I had nothing. I was like completely naked.
Right.
So before I kept playing with Ken, I noticed that a lot of people playing with Ken. So I'm not a big fan of using characters that a lot of people use. So I ended up picking up Abel, because I thought he was pretty odd and strange. And
you like that? That's something that
yeah,
appealing to you.
I like being different.
Right.
And on top of that, I just like playing whatever character that appeals to me.
Right.
So as I kept playing Abel, I noticed that he had potential mix-ups. So as I kept playing them, you know, I learned that at the certain like setups that their command throw, he can set up this and that. Like Abel is a really creative character, and you know, he's also one of my favorite Street Fighter characters now, obviously.
Right.
But you know, it's quite some work that I had to put into the game, and it really paid off, and I'm happy with it.
Okay, that's really good. You actually answered a couple of my questions, literally just by explaining that with the characters and stuff. But literally, if
Oh,
I
sorry.
no, it's fine, it's fine. No, it's good for me. No, like I'll tick that off. But literally, can I find out from you what your mindset was and is during like the winter brawl, for example? And again, you can literally kind of just say, you know, I've always got a particular mindset when I'm in tournaments now. But what was your mindset? And if you could tell me, literally before winter brawl, how you sometimes prepare yourself, and then also during the time when you were in losers brackets and you fought your way out of losers brackets, all the way to when you were actually in the final. Are you somebody that consistently has a vision and a mindset that, look, this is what I plan to achieve and this is what's going to happen, and even though some things may not be going the way that you want them to around you, you're still going to stay very steadfast to your plan, to your vision, to your mindset, and staying in that? Can you kind of explain that a little bit more, please, to like the kind of mindset that you were in at different parts of the tournament, winter brawl that is, and again, if you want to explain more, feel free to.
All right. For instance, when was it? Let's just do a quick run through the majors that tournaments that I was at this year. At Defender North, I was really disappointed with my performance in Street Fighter. Um, like not to, basically like I will beat myself more when I lose to players that I feel like the level of well, on skill. Not saying like they're bad,
Yeah.
but I will feel like that I know that I could have done better. And like for example, Defender North for Street Fighter at least, I performed pretty bad. And the only reason why, and it's no Johns, is because I wasn't actually practicing AE. And to be
Right.
honest with you, I haven't been practicing AE for quite some time now, especially since Injustice dropped. I completely stopped practicing AE. Then once Killer Instinct came out, I completely stopped practicing Injustice, and by practicing I mean like actually play it at home and like grind it out, you know,
Right.
just to like shake some rust off, whatever.
Right.
Um, and it's not because I lost interest of the game. It's only because, well, at least for the Injustice and Xbox One, I'm kind of not of a. I kind of got lazy about like switching the consoles back and forth just to play different games.
Yeah.
So I would just play KI because I actually was just enjoying KI more because it was a newer game, and it's I don't know, I just have way more fun with KI. Injustice is still a good game. I have fun with it, but KI, if it was more like, you know, like the first game that I played, Street Fighter, very footsie oriented
Right.
and fundamental wise and whatnot. So it's pretty fun, and I always loved KI since I was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Great game.
yeah, so I wasn't too happy about that, and then at Apex, same thing. I wasn't too happy with my performance at Apex. Is I'll keep telling to myself, why am I doing this? Why am I entering or competing in a game that I'm not practicing at all?
Right.
So then before Winter Brawl, I definitely told myself that I have to at least dedicate 1 or 2 days out the week at least in a long session and play Street Fighter, so I can at least shake some of the rust off, and you know, not perform so bad when I actually do compete.
Right.
And you know, I felt somewhat confidence at Winter Brawl. Um, you know, I was like, okay, I know I've been playing. I played a bit. I'm familiar with certain things that I normally do that I wouldn't messed up, or you know, so I was quite happy with the performance that I got at Winter Brawl. And then as for I definitely grind that out because I would say KI is probably my main game at the moment.
Right.
Um, so me playing KI, what I do is I grind it out online. I play different matchups. In those same matchups, I play different players with different mentality. And the reason why I'll keep playing different players with different mentality, because I honestly believe that it prepares you for more of a solid play for a 2 out of 3. Because you know how tournament settings is 2 out of 3. So
Hmm.
a lot of players like to go and say like, oh, but you never know what might happen in a 2 out of 3. He may go random or lucky. Yeah, that may be a factor in some cases, but as a player, you should be able to adjust and try to play as solid as you can in a 2 out of 3. And playing different mindset, it helps out a lot because some people play it very differently. Like for example, Justin's Wong Saberwolf. I would say he's probably one of the most, or he is the lamest Saberwolf I ever ran into. Like this guy will really give you nothing to bite.
Right.
You know, he'll basically let you kill yourself. You know, by that saying meaning like he'll let you try to actually attempt to throw out anything so that he could just whiff punish you. You know, he'll try to wait to see if you make a mistake so he can punish you and whatnot.
Right.
And then once he punishes you, then he'll take that to his advantage and gain momentum and try to, you know, intimidate you with his pressure.
Right.
But all this stuff, always play different mindsets, different players, so you can get a feel like how a lot of people think and what to do in certain situation. And then if you run into somebody like that in the tournament, then you already know how to fight them. Because some players, for example, are very how do I say this? Well, in my vocabulary, I would say like nutty, and
Right.
by nutty meaning like they're not shy to do reversals. They're more they're willing to take that risk and going like random and throwing out this just in case to see if it hits or not, whatever. They wouldn't care. So when you fight players like that, you have to tone yourself down and play it more simple because when you try to think advanced, they wouldn't understand what you're trying to do. So you're only gonna hurt yourself because since they don't understand what you're trying to do, they're not gonna do what you're trying to look for. They're gonna do the
I
complete
see.
opposite of it,
I see.
and it's only gonna frustrate you.
Right. I see. So it's almost like if you're trying to go for counter breakers on somebody that is just not really gonna bite in a particular place, so you might just concentrate on your neutral game and essentially hitting them way more, and then literally getting them in a combo and then doing your maximum damage there because you know that they're not really gonna break often. So little things like
Yeah, because
that.
some people do react, some people don't react. So the other double. So for example, if you fight a good player, or if you fight somebody that has really good reactions, you might want to use that against them. So people that have normally good reactions, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna throw fears, because fears auto doubles are more of a daring game. It's like I dare you to break it, because you know I'm throwing out this fears on
Hmm.
purpose to see if you think I'm gonna break it or not.
Hmm.
Um, if you do jabs obviously every good player will go for jabs because they're really quick, trying to get some quick damage and harder to break.
Hmm.
Mediums, however, um, are like the new heavy auto doubles because people that have really good reactions, they can react to mediums.
Right.
Um, so once again, once you see that somebody breaks mediums on point, and then obviously that means like, okay, this guy's not guessing. He can actually react. So then you can
Right.
use that against them.
Right.
But it's really it's really all a big meta game, and sometimes you can get lucky consistently with the counter breaker, sometimes not. I'm a big fan of not really abusing or trying to go for a lot of counter breakers because in a way it's like it's not guessing, but it's like more of a risk. So
Yeah.
I rather go for the guaranteed damage, or I rather not get blown up for trying to like combo break too much.
Right.
So it really all comes down to how the player feels like playing comfortably. If they want to go for risk taking damage or guaranteed damage and doing it like simple and short.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In regards to practicing in general, either for a tournament or just on a daily basis, for like Killer Instinct, right? What are some of the
Yeah.
things that you practice most of the time? So, like for example, imagine if you even said, "I practice this, even though I can do it. There's something that you always need to practice, and it would be this." Or you might say, "I practice setups, I practice execution, I practice combos, and how much I can do inside of a KV meter." What are some of the things that you practice on Killer Instinct on a daily basis, and sometimes even some of the things you practice, even though you know them inside and out, but you just see them as important to continually practice and continually do to always stay sharp?
In KI, there's probably a couple of things that I look for in this game. Um, for this game, manuals, manual combos. It's not necessarily a must, but it definitely helps
Right.
with doing combos on people because it's quick ways to get guaranteed, not guaranteed damage, but at least your opponent won't be able to break your combo as easy if you do auto doubles. So
Right.
manuals are definitely a must that you must practice.
Right.
They'll be hard at first, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy because once again it's all muscle memory. And it also depends on what character you play.
Yes.
Um, I believe Jago, Sidera, and probably Orchid. I'm not too sure. Probably have one of the easiest manuals. Uh, from my knowledge. Oh, and Saberwolf. Thunder, I think, has one of the hardest manuals because he can't go from light to heavy. He has to go a medium special attack in order to like do any sort of manual. If he
Right.
does any light special attack, he can't go to heavy manuals because he doesn't have the frame advantage for it.
Right.
Um, what else? Secondly, one of the things that I definitely practice, and this is what I apply to in all of my games. It might be weird for some people or some players, but it might sound funny, but people's tendencies, the way they react in certain situation. I have I look for that in all the fighting games, and psychologically, I just love being inside my opponent's head and
Mm.
making them think that I really actually know almost everything what they're about to do. And so, but it's more of people's tendencies that I look for, and so and that's one of the I think one of the gifts of playing grappling characters that you learn how people react when you put them in certain situation because you know they're terrified
Yeah.
of getting
Yeah.
scooped up, you know.
Yeah.
So you start to learn, you start to see how a lot of people start to react when you put them in certain situations and how they, you know, how they retaliate. And that's one of the main strong things that I look for. And that's one of the things that I learned with Abel. And I apply that with like any other games that I play. Even if I'm not playing like a grappler character, I still see how people react and whatnot. But in this game, as with Thunder, Thunder is one of the few characters in a game that you really can't really rush him down because if you rush him down, he has a DP and a command throw. So you know obviously you don't want to get command throw because it does quite some decent damage,
Mm.
and it leads to another mix-up situation. What else? And I guess least but not last, one of the other things that I practice in fighting him is like I said earlier, matchups. Matchups. Fight as many matchups as you can, so that you'll be familiar with them in a tournament. And with those matchups, fight many people that specializes on these characters, because everybody has a different fighting style.
Yes.
So this way, this molds you into being more solid in a 2 out of 3.
Right.
Not even just in a 2 out of 3, just it molds you into a better player. Period.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I wanted to ask you, with you playing Street Fighter, coming from Street Fighter, playing Injustice, and you saying again that Killer Instinct, it's new, you loved it as a child, and it's really your main game at the moment. What would you say separates Killer Instinct from, say, Injustice and Street Fighter? What do you think Killer Instinct excels at? So, for example, would it be mind games? What is it that makes it so special to you, Killer Instinct itself?
Um, the game itself is unique. It's obviously different due to the combo break system
Hmm.
and the counter break system. Um, so basically is, for example, compared to the other games have guaranteed damage. So like if you get touched in the other game, you're gonna eat this 30 to 50% guaranteed. And Injustice is the same thing. You're gonna eat this 30 to 50, 60% guaranteed. In Killer Instinct, however, um, you have a chance to break out of the combo, and basically you're not gonna eat that guaranteed 50% if you could break it. But if you miss, if you don't react, and in some cases some players guess, but more for the more top players, if you don't react quick enough and you miss your opportunity to break the combo, or you react to the wrong button, you get an exclamation mark over your head that lets you know that okay, you're gonna be locked out for these 3 to 4 seconds. So the other guy has 4 seconds to do the most heavy damage as he can to hurt you.
Hmm.
Um, what else is different from KI? The instinct bar. You know, every character has a unique instinct meter. Um, it has their own special abilities with it. You know, Glacius gets armor.
Hmm.
Jago heals depending on the combo he does on you. Thunder is able to dash through your. His dashes are has invisibility frame. Saber move does more damage. Also, you can use the instinct to wake up with it, so it freezes everything,
Hmm.
and you're able to see like what's your opponent doing, so you can react from there. There's a lot of strategies behind instinct that you can use to your advantage.
Hmm.
Um, what else? Other than that, I guess that's what really separates KI from the other games.
Right.
That everybody always has a chance to make a comeback, or you know, not to take so much damage and get beaten out and whatnot. But yeah, I will fairly say that people should really work on their reactions more than on guessing. You can guess here and there. There's nothing bad with that.
Yeah.
But just don't do it every time, because if you're guessing all the time, then your results won't be consistent on the combo breaking, whatnot.
Right. Which makes perfect sense. Right. So, on
Right.
to the next question. If you could change one thing about the fighting game community, be it good or bad, what would it be and why?
Um.
And that can literally be
Uh.
anything from how sometimes it could be from how like how you feel about the community on for example Killer Instinct, or maybe even sometimes how players are promoted, or the lack of promotion for players, just literally anything that you see either good or bad, and you know, what would you change about it, and why?
Well, that's a really tough question. Because once again, everybody has different opinions and different views on things, and man, that's a really hard question.
Sorry, bro.